Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3. As today, we continue along that long road back to Oberberg. Guaranteed to be at least somewhat eventful, considering the narrative arc we've set for ourselves. Though, you know, jury's still out on whether we'll actually find anything worth our time. But hey, XP's XP. We've still got a couple of characters who haven't hit soft cap yet. Pushing past the first group of would-be bandits, the raiders soon found themselves confronted by another, though this one sneaking about the periphery, perhaps trying to come in on their flank or sneak up behind. As the raiders ran them down, however, they were given some slight pause as they saw the almost uniform and unusually heavily armed and armored state of these particular scoundrels. But the pause was brief, and blood soon flowed. Tommy kicking things off by shearing through a shoulder. Arrow eviscerating a villain's visage. And to their credit, these erstwhile assassins took it in stride. Bolts and arrows whistling overhead. The raiders using a low rise in the terrain as cover. Before, as the projectiles briefly paused, rushing forward. Rassel leading the charge, but soon followed by other raiders. Some equipped with weapons too oversized to immediately swing. Giannis hacked halfway through a hapless hooligan's throat. Honestly, eyeing the enemy lineup here, those long axes are reasonably dangerous. As is the military pick to a certain extent. Only in that it can smash up our armor, leave us vulnerable to other weaker weapons. But obviously, nothing to really worry about here. That would be if we were seeing things like sword masters or master archers or the like. Which would be nice, honestly. They dropped some halfway decent loot. A flash and lash of shrapnel on the center line. A long axe-wielding lout goes limp. Tommy pins another down. Arrow eliminating an arch rival. Seymore gets a bit bold and tries to push past a bloodied bludgeoner, but is rebuffed. Random annihilates a nose. Rassel kicking the bloody-faced bandit to one side. Engaging the second long axeman. Covered, of course, by Mark. Another assassin explosively eviscerated across the terrain. Diego digs his spear into a dastard's side. Rook unhands another. And Giannis tops it off. Yeah, he still needs Berserk. Malafnoy bull rushes the bandit back line. Whilst Seymore cleaves the last cad left behind. A few more flit about the flanks, but the fight is all but done. half the hired killers already angling to make their escape. But the raiders are intent on making them work for it. Rassel battering one down on south even as the long axeman lopes away. Mal murking another. Seymore slaughtering a third. Tommy took the sass out of the last assassin. That's some serious loss of face. Rassel ran down a runner, random right behind. And the back line crumbled, 2 more falling before Mal's blade. Arrow carefully angling a shot. But it went wide. A crack of bone, an enemy disarmed. Ben just completely losing his head. The final foe fell to his knees. Ribs crunched like a bag of chips. A brief plea, a promise of info. But too little, too late. And the raiders quickly rolled the bodies. With Giannis, at least, coming away slightly more learned. And once again, a peculiar bundle of perfectly packed coins. Only 50 this time. Though given the generally superior state of arms and armor that this particular band of brigands had, it was easy to imagine where their excess coin might have gone. The raiders ransacked the choicer bits, then quickly moved on. Even as the company's quantumly entangled captain eyed the anatomists, brow arched. Rook simply shrugged and reminded the captain that there was a reason he had hired the company in the first place, though the exact details of which he still declined to divulge. Alright, let's go ahead and get this level up taken care of. Giannis hits level 10. And as we saw during that fight, he needs Berserk. Oh man, look at those rolls. That's pretty solid. I mean, he does still need Morale. Or Resolve, rather. But I think we're going to go with the main 3. Melee and double defense. Honestly, hard to pass that up. But yeah, we do have to bump up that Resolve at some point. Might have to be in our Legacy levels. And as for perk, yes, he already has Kill Frenzy, so we will indeed take Berserk. Though I will note that his fatigue is slightly lower than I'd like it to be for a Berserker. I've been holding off on Weapon Mastery, but I think we are going to go into Cleaver. He has 2 more perks once he hits 11, so I think that will be one of them. I was honestly trying to force myself to use a wider variety of weapons this time out, but they keep giving us cleavers, so, you know, I work with what I've got. That said, as the raiders soon embarked once more for Oberberg, they once again found their path blocked. This group of would-be bandits had clearly seen them slaughter their way through the first 2, but also seemed curiously emboldened. A few furtive glances tossed over their shoulders as they moved to intercept. Rook spying in the same direction and nodding subtly towards the black-clad figure lurking behind. Alois noted it as well, the witch hunter's voice low. Arcane support, you think? Arcane extortion, more like. Rook responded, then gestured for the raiders to attack. And attack they did. Diego blocking off a bloody bludgeoner on North. Rook jabbing at another jackanape on South. And yet still they came. That's what she said. Despite the fact, of course, that they were woefully outgunned. Mal moved in and took a knee. Setris hammering in how hopeless this fight really was. Zarmal pierced a palm. Val another, then a heart. And a lung. Slightly savage. A blast on South. 2 bodies hit the floor. And once again, to their credit, the erstwhile assassins continued to press the assault. The twang of crossbows cutting through the air. Bolts whistling past, but none yet finding their mark. And Giannis offered a full-throated reprisal. Zarmal deftly dispatched another dastard. Mal grunting as a bolt bounced off of his burly breastplate. And once again, the fight was all but done. A blast blew apart 2 arbalisters before they could bolt. Setris struck 2 more down. Though man, Giannis loves going for the neck. And the face. You know what? Certainly not complaining. Dude keeps getting headshots left and right. Honestly, almost tempts me to give him Headhunter just to stay on theme. Though, you know, he's probably better off with something like Executioner or Duelist. Both perks that I wish I'd given to Mal. Oh, sorry. The first of their foes began to flee. They could run, but they'd be doing so against the wind. With the last simply being butchered. No attempt at parley this time, simply pinned in place to expire. The raiders finding yet another neat bundle of gold upon their bodies. As well as a few other errant goods worth retaining. Though, as the raiders rummaged through their pockets, a few of those fallen foes began to rise once more. The raiders, of course, were not caught off guard. They'd spied the figure in black lurking in back. whom had only now sought to intervene, now that he had ample material to work with. And Rook gave Rax a nod, the raiders quickly reforming their line. As they met this malevolent mystic head-on. With yet another pack of bandits backing them up, but honestly, I feel like we've probably had enough. We'll see what's in there. If it's a champion, we'll definitely go after it. If not, we might give it a pass. Methinks 3 filler fights is about enough, though. Though I will say, it's fun, you know, being able to actually curb stomp foes from time to time. You just don't want to, you don't want to do it too much. At least not for a narrative series. Not unless I start skipping fights, or at least trimming them down. Which I guess I could do, but you know, then you get to the point where you're like, well, if it's not worth showing on screen, then is it really worth doing at all? Do we really need it? Etc. This episode is kind of a rare indulgence where I knew that most of the fights we had, if not all of them, were going to end up being fairly harmless. But you know, normally I do try to keep things escalating every couple of episodes. That's why we've been so aggressively hunting down various legendary foes. With the next potentially being the Kraken, assuming we can find the raw materials we need. Though I will say that one definitely gives me pause. One of the few foes in the game with an instant kill attack, so I mean, casualties likely, but not necessarily guaranteed. That's also a fight where you really do want Pathfinder, which unfortunately we skipped for this particular run. But next time around, if we do a Season 4, I'll definitely want to maybe drop Colossus in favor of Pathfinder for better tactical versatility. Though I will say, you know, Colossus has also come in clutch. It's just one of the more boring perks, you know. The raiders carved through the cursed conjurer's cadaverous company with ease. Its fallen hero felled once more. Though quick to rise, briefly menacing arrow. Sigmar and Random made short work of the fallen hero, though he was sure to rise yet again. For the rest of the raiders had found themselves at least briefly blocked by the burly bodies raised in the reanimator's defense. Berlin pushed his way past. And the restless Revenant rose once more. Not to be confused with our Revenant, who sadly remained dead. Rest in peace, Rev. Arrow sighed, finally stowing his bow. A pyrotechnic plume and the pallid pest fell once more, Arrow quickly stepping away. Alois angled his shot, blasting a hole in the center line. Viego dispatched one more. And so it went. With Rax finally wrecking the rest of the center line. The fallen hero hobbling upright. A fourth time. Hobbling forth. Mal moved in, sight set on the sinister sorcerer himself. Though his undead honor guard intervened. Arrow took aim. But alas, no luck. Seymore slaughtered the fallen hero once more. Then sallied forth, keen to confront its sinister source. Its sorcerer, if you will. But Alois beat him to the punch. The necromancer suddenly choking back blood, clutching at his sundered throat. The rest of his reanimated retinue wavered. And the raiders quickly followed through. Verlin the first to engage the Invoker. Rax right behind. One last desperate act of defiance from the soon-to-be-dead Diviner. A few desperate gestures. Two more undead ambled upright. But again, too little, too late. Though arguably slightly more effective than punching Verlin's shield. Great sword work, Seymore. And thus it ended. The necromancer no more. The raiders stood victorious, the field strewn with eviscerated undead. There's little to be gleaned from this particular lot, considering that they'd already been half looted before the necromancer had made his entrance. But the raiders took what they could, and then moved on. One last group of would-be bandits seen beating feet to the west, evidently having witnessed the fall of the four groups before them, and deciding that perhaps they weren't being paid enough after all. Let me just do some quick rearranging here. But yeah, we're probably going to let those guys go. I just want to get a gander at what they have to offer. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and tag some items for repair as well. Get those fixed up before we pawn them off. Alright, let's see what we've got going on. brigand leader. I mean, nothing all that special, honestly. Not these days. While marching down the road, you find a man with a broken cart by the side of the path. By the wagon, there's a donkey standing idle, as defeated as a donkey can look. The trader looks little better than that, and your appearance seems to have scared him. He rears up, backing away momentarily. Have you come to take my things? If so, you needn't kill me. Take what you want. Easy, friend. I know our appearance might be frightful, and the road thick with thieves, but I can promise, we're not with them. Let's get you on your way. You disarm the man from his fears and order a few of the RetconRaider's finest to get the wagon back on the road. They make short work of it, the trader looking rather impressed by their efficiency. With his wares back on the road, he offers a few tokens of gratitude right off the wagon itself. These provisions will be useful in the days to come. Nice. Not much, bit of a waste of an encounter, but we'll take it. Still waiting on the ultimate events for certain characters like Mark and Mal. Local prices are pretty mediocre. Probably not worth selling our trading goods here. But we will at least dump the vendor trash. One sec, let me take care of some quick trading. And we're back. Load lighter, purse a bit heavier. And on we go. On to Hohenwacht, or however you pronounce that. Let's see if we can find something worth our while. Hitting it just at nightfall. Yeah, not worth waiting around. We'll push straight on to Loundstat. Should hit that by daybreak. We do need to sell all these trade goods, though. Minus one stack of wood. Since that's how we get credit for our current ambition. Alright, let's see what we got. Quick check-in with the Fletcher. No legendaries on offer. Bone plating, yeah. Honestly, I've been debating whether or not to swap random off to bone plating instead of the direwolf pelt. And yes, we will unload. And we'll take that too. I mean, we're basically guaranteed to sell it at a loss, but the important thing is it'll, again, count towards our current ambition. And it'll be a loss of like 30 gold, so who cares? Go ahead and dump those as well, clear more space. Oh, and temple. Yes. Sorry, Drak. No man should shoulder that kind of burden alone. Still tempted to go ahead and just hire our final recruit, but also kind of wanting to hold out for a special recruit, just in case we encounter one. Nothing there that really catches my eye anyway, so on we go. Back to Oberberg. We'll get this quest turned in and then figure things out from there. Oh. Well, you know, it's basically another filler fight, but we're not just going to walk by and let those guys die. Along the main trade route, the raiders chanced upon a caravan under siege. A group of savage scoundrels ransacking some poor peddlers. A matter of life and death for the merchants, but just another Tuesday for the raiders. Oh, well. Well, they didn't get there quite fast enough, but even if they could not be saved, they can still be avenged. And thus began yet another bloody pit stop. Literally, perhaps. I like to imagine the raiders would bury the poor peddlers after. Just need to take the trash out first. Which, yeah, is going to be a mite bit quick. As evidenced by Arrow immediately taking out 2. Though, as ever, the enemies take the thrall or nothing approach. Not at all daunted by that early double kill. Seymore steps in. A shieldman, deflecting his blade, but the one behind finding less luck. Diego displaces a dastard. Random. Rushing on south, which may have been a mistake, but we'll pull him out momentarily. Yeah, see, like, that is why I'm debating giving him bone plating over the direwolf pelt. For moments like this, where he might take a good hit before we can pull him back out. Mal Merc to Marauder. Seymore cleared a canine. Sorry, doggo. I don't blame you. I blame your masters. Cetra smashed a nose. Tommy took some pot shots. Oof. Okay, you're good. Yeah, see, if Random had bone plating, he would have completely eaten that first, or it would have completely eaten that first hammer swing. Though still potentially left him vulnerable to the sledge right after, so, you know, who's to say how much difference it really would have made. A blast on north, another barbarian disemboweled. Wrestle rotated Random, rousting a reaver. The savage stunned and soon to be expired. Arrow took aim. But alas, once more, the shot went wide. Tommy taking a tosser through the throat. Giannis, once again, bringing things to a head. And the fight was all but done. But really, were there ever any doubts? Just a shame they couldn't get there slightly faster. Doubly a shame if we can't salvage the trade goods that these guys pulled off that caravan. Though, I mean, to be fair, it would just be a bit of extra coin. Sadly, I don't think that would actually count towards our current ambition. The drummer beats feet, pitter-pattering a rapid rhythm as they retreat. But the rest of his brethren are not so lucky. Brutally slain where they stand. Butchered much in the same way as they had butchered the poor merchants before. And there we go. Another quick and easy one. Man, I was hoping we'd get at least one halfway decent challenge today. But I suppose that's just how it goes, especially once you hit mid to late campaign. I am starting to wonder when the second Crisis event is going to start. It should be any time now. And no trade goods. Just a few primitive trophies, but we'll take them. We've got room. We'll dump all this stuff once we get to Oberberg. Though, along the way, let's see if we can perhaps track these guys back to their source. I'm going to say that's a no, because their tracks have already faded. Let's grab our pay. Another job well done, raiders. You return to Baron Bertol von Harkon and throw a greenskin's head on its table. He scoots away from it. Excuse me? Nodding at it, you explain that the foul things are dead. He snaps a handkerchief from his pockets and starts mopping up the blood. Yes, I can see that. The mess was meant to stay there, not be brought to my feet. Farking sellswords. Your pay is in the corner. And hail my servants when you leave. Someone's got to clean this up. Indeed. Well, I'll leave you to it. How are we looking here? Retreat of the Harvester. Oh, that's the one out east I keep skipping past. Yeah, maybe we'll go clear that up. Round of drinks for the raiders. Quick spot check for potential procurements. Nothing really jumping out at me. How are we on local prices? Oh, that's not terrible. Go ahead and dump the peat bricks. We'll grab the salt. Bit by bit gets us a little closer. Honestly, I think at this point, one more loop around the northern trade route should get it done. After which we'll likely be doing the Noble Alliance ambition. That's still on our to-do list. And you know what? We've still got a little time left. What have we got on tap? Patrol? Okay. Oh, but wait. Eisengrab. That's... No, wait. Hold on. Let me put a pin in that real quick. I think Eisengrab is way south. Which would make sense because this is the keep that we helped this noble house take during the war. So it's way outside their normal territory. Yeah, that's way too much for a simple patrol mission. We don't want to do that. Honestly, it's hard to say if we even could do that without running out of time. So, we will instead turn our sights towards the retreat of the Harvester, why not? We'll head west to Damwald, do the trade loop, and then on the way back, we'll cut off their retreat. We do need a contract, though, so we'll pick one up along the way. Alps and Helvik. And several contracts to choose from, though we can see they've got a bit of an unhold problem, which actually would be kind of perfect because if we are considering going after the Kraken, we do need those hides. Ulfert the steward is at his desk with his head in his hands. He's mumbling to himself. Monster this, beast that. Oh, my chicken got taken. Oh, maybe you should consider putting it in a pen, you damn piece of... Oh, hi, Sellsword. The man rises from his chair and throws you a piece of paper. There's a crude drawing of a large-headed beast on it. Folks are reporting there's a giant roaming around these parts. I'll pay good money to see these reports investigated properly. And of course, good money to see the beast slain properly as well. Are you up for it? Please say yes. Yeah, we can do that. And honestly, that pay's not half bad. Better than the last Noble gig we did. We'll take it. This will also be a nice showcase of how far along the Raiders have come. Since at this point, I think even our softest members can probably tackle an unhold. Aside from, I suppose, our range fighters being stuck one-on-one. So, let's go ahead and pull them. We'll go melee heavy. Aside, perhaps, from Arrow, who we'll keep because we want that bleed. Yeah, I mean, that's the easiest way to offset an unhold's regen. Aside from just brute forcing them with sheer force of blade. Bleeding damage, directly counters the healing in real time. All right. Almost at time, but let's get this done. I think we can pull it off. Depending on how many. And it should definitely give us enough skins. Though even past that, I think we still need Sparkling Ash. I'll have to double check that. Which, to be fair, we know where we can get. We did pass a Necropolis. A little out west, I think. Honestly, I don't think we have much to fear from Necrosavants either these days, but it's just a knee-jerk response, They're a nightmare in the early game. I wonder if Necrosavants can be champions, or if that's just the purview of, Legends or the other overhaul mods. Oh, wow, coming in hot. 7 unholds? Not too bad. Let's catch him on open terrain if possible. Hills are fine. The unholds in part remind you of any group of laborers, circled around a dead fire, rubbing their bellies and looking like boulders there hunched on the ground. Of course, your arrival brings them to their feet and destroys any notion that you've anything resembling them at all, except maybe similarly sized third legs. The beasts growl and stomp, but they do not attack. They throw their hands out and try to shoo you away. But the RetconRaiders didn't come this far to quit. You draw your sword and lead the men forward. Interesting starting spot. Doesn't really help us, but certainly doesn't hurt. Arrow claims first blood, and with a bloody, bellowing roar, the unholds invite the raiders' approach, charging forth to meet them. Though unarmored, ill-disciplined, the raiders aren't too concerned. Their sights first set on the still bleeding Furbolg at the fore. Trip moves in. the normally nervous old man seeming buoyed by unnatural new confidence. Sarmal close behind, circling on south. And the rest of the raiders rush in, forming a ragged line. Rex, of course, diving into the deepest end of the fray. Seymore slightly more cautious, lining up his shot. Random towards center. Sensor already a whirlin'. And then the carnage began. The raiders rapidly lashing and lacerating as quickly as they could, trying to outpace that unnatural healing. Rax was hurled off to one side, his heavy horns a convenient handhold. And the first Furbolg fell. Run through by Rook's pike. But of course, the raiders did not let up. Ducking and weaving, dodging clumsy blows, continuing to lash out wherever opportunity presented. A second falling Sand's head, the skull tumbling down the slope, courtesy of Drakiith's scimitar. Arrow angled in a shot, another blood-gushing wound delivered. Diego hanging back for a second. Clouds of roiling vapors cluttered the battlefield, limiting the raiders and where they could go. A downside to the sensor, but one they had grown ever more accustomed to. One beast finally broke through on north. A ham fist hammering Drakiith back. Cetrus hurled aside. And following its example in savagery, several other raiders were likewise bandied about before rushing gamely back in. Bruised but unbroken. Blades once more digging in. Oh, thanks. Yeah, we can live with that. Cetrus sent reeling out of a roiling cloud. And a third beast fell, neck hewn through. The stump sealing off before it even realized it was dead. A fourth soon followed, Rex finally finding his footing. Crescent axe carving a cave troll in twain. only to be bounced back once more. Seymore likewise sent sprawling down the slope. No, really, nothing too bad. Honestly, even the nimble raiders are tanking those hits pretty nicely. The fifth beast broke. But before it could flee, Seymore helped it find its backbone and severed it through. So, you know, bit of a mixed bag there. Verlin took a very daring position. The rest of the raiders rushing around to finish the final two. Rax whacked back once more. Verlin hurled into a ditch. But the rest of the raiders stood firm. The onslaught relentless. No single blow particularly telling, but coming in swarms, an endless, ceaseless tide of biting blades, peeling away those battle-hardened hides. Until finally, gotta get Arrow out of there. Bit awkward though. I mean, he's doing okay. Though Seymore and Drak are finally getting a bit worn down. So, let's wrap this up. A savage series of strikes. The second to last finally felled. But one remained. And it, too, soon followed. An arrow buried deep in its eye socket, blood flooding its brain. Wow, we got a ton of bones, but barely any hide there, which I guess is fair considering how much we hacked it up. But that should still be enough. With the giant slain, you get the men ready for a return to Ulfert the Steward. But Rax fetches your attention with a bit of quiver in his throat. You head on over to see him standing before one of the felled unholds. He points across its flesh, which has been torn asunder in slices, and hangs like the ears of a cornstalk. The damage is far beyond the ability of your own weaponry. The sellsword turns and looks past you with his eyes widening. What do you imagine did that? Further along the skin are concave scars shaped like saucers with punctures rent right into the holes. You climb atop the unhold and crank your sword into one of those divots, wrenching free a tooth about the length of your forearm. Along its edges are barbs, teeth upon teeth, it seems. The men see this and start muttering amongst themselves, and you wish you'd never saw it at all, for you've no sense to make of it. The wilds are dark and full of terrors. I don't recall if we've seen that one before, but yes, very appropriate considering what we are currently considering, because that is definitely a nod toward the Kraken. Which also, in retrospect, I think also gates another encounter we haven't completed, the old mill. So yeah, you know, for better or worse, we might get Kraken. You return to Ulfert the Steward and find the man reading stories to children. He rends his hand through the air and growls like a beast. Knocking on the door, you intrude upon the theater. Aye, and then the ever-honorable sellsword. slew the monster. The children cheer at your timely arrival. The mayor stands and gives you the promised reward, declaring he had a scout following your every move, and he's already heard the reports of your success. He asks if you'll stick around and tell the tale for the kiddos. You tell him you don't work for free, and leave the room. You know what? That's fair. I'm not adverse to the occasional bit of charity work here and there, but I do feel like folks like us, the raiders in particular, maybe should limit our time around the impressionable youth, given the grimdark setting and all. That said, we are running a bit long, so this feels like a good place to call it. And, although we did end up curb stomping them in the end, at least we got in one semi-challenging fight. Though, perhaps more notably, I think that has more or less cemented the idea that we are in fact going to go after at least one more legendary target. Again, I do dread what will actually happen once we're there. But, that's for future retcon to worry about. Before that, we do need to track down a necropolis. Get ourselves some necrosavant ashes. I'll have to double check the exact amount. So yeah, we'll hit the pause button for now. I will get a general idea of where we're headed from here. And we'll pick up here next time. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Bowman, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.